ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
San Diego now has one of the largest coronavirus vaccine distribution sites in the country. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. A superstation designed to inoculate up to 5,000 healthcare workers a day opened up outside Petco Park. Our ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco shows us how it will speed up the pace of vaccinations.
You're good to go. That's it.
Thank you.
Without even stepping out of their car, thousands of healthcare workers are getting their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Sky 10 above the long lines of cars waiting to get into the tailgate parking lot near Petco Park. Jasmine Pablo grateful for the opportunity.
I want to be able to protect my coworkers, my friends, my family, everyone. I think it's really important.
The county's first ever vaccination superstation is one of the largest in the country. It's set up to give shots to roughly 5,000 healthcare workers a day.
They run the gamut, people from mental and behavioral health. We've had folks working in laboratories and even veterinarians.
UC San Diego Health, the Padres, city and county are working together to operate the site. The county is paying for it. There's talk of opening another large site in the South Bay and possibly one in the North County, but it's unclear when.
We know that this is our shot of hope to get through the pandemic.
Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines require a second dose 3 to 4 weeks later. Everyone who gets the vaccine will have that information put into the county's immunization registry. Providers can then access that information when it's time to give out second doses. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
Right now, the superstation is only available to those healthcare workers, as Rachel mentioned. It's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. Appointments are available online at vaccinationsd.com.
Healthcare workers at one of San Diego's hardest hit hospitals are getting their second dose of vaccine.
It's over.
Yay!
Yay! Number 2.
A cheer as Dr. Andre Smith, the director of medical services at Sharp Chula Vista, got his second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Sharp Chula Vista has been caring for some of the sickest patients in the South Bay, which has the most cases in the county. The county just released the latest numbers. There are 2,900 new local cases, bringing our total to 194,000. There are no reported new deaths, typical for a Monday. That total remains at 1,800.
2 gorillas at the San Diego Zoo have officially tested positive for coronavirus, and it's possible more could be infected. Our ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti looks into how the gorillas are doing and how they likely contracted that disease.
Right now, zoo officials are expecting the gorillas to be okay. However, this is a first, so there is a lot of uncertainty right now.
This virus has been very, very tricky. We've done everything we can to respond to it and make sure that we're taking all the precautions and following all the guidelines that we can.
Executive Director of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, Lisa Peterson, says 2 gorillas have tested positive for coronavirus, a third is showing symptoms, and others may have been exposed. The testing took place last week when the gorillas started coughing.
We decided to test the troop because we saw some mild symptoms that are similar to those that humans would experience.
She says despite employees wearing masks around the animals, this spread likely started from a person.
So we suspect that the gorillas got this virus from an asymptomatic team member.
Other animals in the world have tested positive before, including dogs, cats, tigers, lions, and more. However, a release from the zoo says they believe this to be the first known case of natural transmission to great apes. Peterson adding that because this is a first, it's unknown how severe their recovery will be.
They're doing okay. They're experiencing some mild symptoms, and we continue to observe them, but they're drinking, they're eating.
Information from the zoo says there currently is no coronavirus vaccine for animals. However, testing and research is underway right now. They also advise that any people who have tested positive for coronavirus avoid animals. Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
UC San Diego plans to return to in-person classes next fall. Today, UC system administrators said they feel confident that people will be vaccinated and students can come back to campus. Details, including starting dates and safety protocols, will come later. But the UC president says they did want to make an early announcement about the fall so students can plan accordingly. You can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store. In the last hour, San Diego police announced 3 people will face criminal charges for their behavior during Saturday's violent confrontation in PB. Pro and anti-Trump supporters came face to face along Mission Boulevard. 5 officers were assaulted and someone smashed the window of a business. Officers say they are looking into images of other assaults that appeared to happen during the demonstrations. Any victims are asked to contact police.
And the FBI is warning about armed protests at all 50 state capitals leading up to President-elect Joe Biden's January the 20th inauguration. According to an internal FBI bulletin, the protests could start later this week. Today, California Governor Gavin Newsom said our state is ready.
That everybody is on, I think, a high alert in terms of just making sure that everybody is safe and protected. People's free speech can be advanced, but there's no violence.
Newsom says he will activate the National Guard as needed. House Democrats are pushing for Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office. If he doesn't, they will start impeachment proceedings Wednesday. Now, we just spoke with San Diego Congressman Mike Levin, who says the president has to go.
Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would have to try to impeach a president for inciting an insurrection against the United States Congress. This is unprecedented in American history, this attack on our Capitol. It's never happened. We've never had a sitting president of the United States try to foment a violent mob to have a attempted coup.
But San Diego's lone Republican representative, Darrell Isis, says it makes more sense to focus on the peaceful transition of power right now.
If there were 6 months left in the presidency, other things, the 25th Amendment or an impeachment, might have some validity. But with only a week left, Vice President Biden, as president-elect, wanting his transition, has said that really he needs to focus on the transition, and we all should.
ISIS says those who broke into the Capitol and committed crimes, they should be punished for their actions, but that most of Wednesday's protesters did not have the intent to commit violence.
Turning now to the high surf slamming our coastal communities. Check out this video shot by an ABC 10 News viewer this morning. It was next to the Ocean Beach Pier. As you can see, the water came up and it swept that woman right off her feet. She is fine this evening, but as ABC 10 News reporter Natay Holmes shows us, the same cannot be said for the pier.
The high surf came rolling into our San Diego coast. Waves reaching up to 12 feet Monday morning.
Even all the way at the end of the pier, I was still feeling those waves shaking that pier.
Photographer Jim Grant snapped these photos as the strong waves crashed against the pier, causing damage along the south side. Wooden boards submerged in the water.
When I walked up to those lock gates, boy, I was surprised to see about 120 feet of railing just peeled off of that pier.
This is not the first time the pier has been damaged. In 2019, the pier was closed for nearly 6 months after the strong storms damaged more than 2,200 feet of guardrail, electric, and sewer lines. The city spent over $300,000 in repairs.
The new boards that they put on the top of the railing, those boards were all just peeled off. They were just like a deck of cards. Somebody had just peeled all those off, and they were laying kind of on a real funny angle, almost like a teepee. And then the conduit that they put in on that side of the pier, that was just squirreled all over the pier like a snake.
10 News reached out to the city. A representative says they don't know how long the pier will be closed this time around. They will have to wait until the surf dies down to assess the damage.
Just very disheartening that once again it's going to be closed down and we're not going to be able to access it.
Natay Holmes, ABC 10 News.
Meteorologist Angelica Campos is joining us now with a look at how much longer the high surf will stick around. Angelica?
Hi, Kim. Well, it's still pretty strong out there. Right now, averaging between 4-7 feet waves and sets as high as 10. The good news is that it's already peaked, so we've seen the worst of this high surf advisory. But of course, it will continue. Some bigger swells just offshore. That leads to a small craft advisory. A high surf advisory for our coastal communities will be in effect until 1 o'clock tomorrow. High tide is at 7:51, so there is the possibility for some minor flooding near our coastal communities, but it should be better by the end of the day and most certainly by Wednesday. Then we'll start to track St. Anna winds. We'll have more on that coming up.